Welcome to the online class, children. Today we will start science for class 4 students. So we will learn first chapter of this subject, and the name of the chapter is Adaptation in Plants. So adaptation means, what do you mean by adaptation? To adapt themselves in the critical situations, okay, to survive. For what purpose? To survive. Okay, to adjust. Adapt means to adjust to survive, isn't it? No. So here we will learn in plants. This adaptation we will learn in plants. So adaptation in plants. Plants grow almost everywhere on earth. Plants grow almost everywhere on the earth. You know that everywhere we have plants, and plants are very useful for us. We can't survive without trees and plants because they provide us oxygen, you know. You can see everywhere greenery, isn't it? No. And we can't survive without plants and trees because they provide us oxygen. Okay. Plants have adaptation to help them survive in different areas. They have a tendency, they have a capability to adapt themselves in different situations, in different areas. Adaptations are special features that allow a plant to live in a particular place or habitat. In the particular place, they have different soil, different climatic condition, different weather, different soil structure, texture. Okay, so plants survive themselves according to it, isn't it now? Now, these adaptation might make it very difficult for the plant to survive in different places. For example, a coconut tree is not found in desert because a desert receives very little rainfall. You know, coconut tree. It is difficult for the coconut tree to adapt, to survive in desert region, in desert area. Why? Because desert region have very little rainfall. Okay. Adaptation to the habitat. Plants can be placed under two main groups. So plant, according to the adaptation, okay, plants are divided into two main groups. So first one is terrestrial plant and aquatic plant. What is that? Two groups. First is terrestrial plant and aquatic plant. Terrestrial, and second one is what? Aquatic. Aquatic. Okay. So here two types are there. Two types we will learn today. Okay. So terrestrial plants. What do you mean by terrestrial plants? So terrestrial plant is one that grow on land. Terrestrial means which grow on land. The plants which grow on land. The land have different features like mountain, desert, plain, coast and marshes. Some parts of the land receive very heavy rain, some medium and some very little. So you know, different area, different part of land receive different type of climatic condition, isn't it? No? Some are heavy rainfall, some receive snowfall, some have medium rainfall, some little rainfall, scarcity of rainfall, and some have snowfall. So in all these areas we find different kinds of plants that adapt to the natural conditions of the areas in which they live to be able to survive. So in all that particular area, plants have different characteristics, different qualities to survive, to adapt. Okay, so plants that adapt to the natural condition. We can say, what are the natural conditions? Natural condition means little rainfall, heavy rainfall, okay, no rainfall, snowfall. So these are the natural conditions. Okay, so here plants survive in such areas, in such regions. Okay, and they live, they survive. They are able to survive. So such plants are called what? Terrestrial plant. So terrestrial plant, again, once again, what do you mean by a terrestrial plant? Terrestrial plants is one that grow on land. Terrestrial plants is one that grow on land. Okay, and the land has different features like mountain, desert, plain, okay, coasts and marshes. Different features are there. Some part land receive very little, some low rainfall, some receive snowfall. Okay, so these are the natural features. Okay, these are the natural conditions of the of nature. These are the natural conditions for the plants to survive, to adapt in such difficult situation. Okay, now here plants on hill. So we will learn in all the features we will learn. No, land have different features, so in all the features we will learn here. Most of the features we will learn. So it is a land part. Hilly area is also a land part, isn't it? No, terrestrial plant. It comes under terrestrial plant only. It comes under terrestrial plant. So hills and mountains are colder than plains. So plain, hills have high altitude, isn't it? No, and it is colder than plain. So here the soil is stony and hard. Hilly area, soil is hard, stony, okay, and they are hard because it is hilly area. Okay, trees on hilly areas adapt to survive the cold and snowfall. So cold in hilly areas, temperature is very cold. Okay, temperature is very cold because there is a low temperature, very low temperature. So that's why the climate is cold. Okay, and snowfall also takes place in the hilly areas, all of you know. So these are usually tall and straight and conical so that snow can easily slide their branches. So here in the hilly areas, the plants are in such a way, so how they can survive? Their structure is usually tall, okay, very tall, big and straight, and they are having straight. They look like straight, okay, and the structure is in a conical shape, in the cone shape. What do you mean by conical shape? Like this. Okay, conical shape. So, like this structure is there. So, that is why the trees are like in a conical shape. Why? Because when there is snowfall on the hilly area, so it can slide down easily. Okay, and slide off their branches. They do not shed their leaves and are called evergreen. They do not shed their leaves. One more characteristic of these plants are they do not shed their leaves. Okay, and that's why they are called evergreen trees. That's why they are evergreen. Okay, now the example for these hilly areas, plants which is there in hilly areas are deodar, pine. Okay. Now, and their example fir also are some of the plant that grows on the mountain or the hilly areas, and they are usually flowerless and have cones with seeds that carry out the process of reproduction. Now, one hilly areas, the plants in the hilly areas over. Now, the second we will learn plants in desert. So, we are which point we are carrying? Terrestrial plants only. These are the features of terrestrial. So, hilly area is over. Second is what? Plants in desert. Plants in desert. So, it is also a part of a land. And land means terrestrial plant. Isn't it? No. So, here, the plant in the desert, the temperature is extremely hot. You know that in the hilly areas, there is a low temperature. That's why the temperature is low temperature. That why it is very colder region. Snowfall takes place. Just opposite of that in the desert area. So we will learn here now the plants in the desert area. So here in the desert area, the temperature is extremely hot and dry in summer and very cold in winter. There is hardly any rainfall leading to scarcity of water. Scarcity means very less rainfall. Scarcity means less. Okay, less water is there because there is low rainfall. Isn't it? No. Where? In the desert area. The sand is loose. Soil where water cannot stay. And you know the sand, it cannot hold water. Water cannot stay. Moreover, there is no plant foot present in sand. All these factors together are responsible for very little vegetation. Okay? In the desert. So plants that grow in desert are adapted to save water. It adapted to save water. So such plants grow in the desert area which have a condition, which have a capability to store water. Okay, to save water, or which can survive in scarcity of water also. So such plants which are there, which grow in the desert area, desert region, are date palm, cactus, kikar, usually grow in desert. So these are the plants. These are the plants which grows in the desert. Trees which grows in the desert region. Desert region means there is very little rainfall, scarcity of rainfall. So these plants live on very little water and store water they get. Whatever the water they get, they store. They have a capability to store the water, isn't it? No. That's why they are able to survive. So, and what are the features? What are the characteristics of these plants which adapt in the desert region? So the features, the characteristics are there. Their roots go deep and are spread out wide and absorb as much underground water as possible. Means the root go deep inside the ground and it absorbs as much water as which is there under the ground. Isn't it? No. So this is one characteristic of the desert region, and another one is what? Their leaves are reduced to spines to avoid loss of water. So their leaves are spines in shape. Why? Because they can avoid loss of water. Okay. Second feature, this is second characteristic I can say. Now the third one is the green. The green fleshy stem carry out photosynthesis to store food. Photosynthesis, all of you know the process of making food, no, for the plants with the help of sunlight, water, isn't it? No. So this is the process for the plants to make food. So the green fleshy stem carry out photosynthesis to store food. They store the food. Okay. Now here, plants in plane. This is also one of the feature of terrestrial plants. No, terrestrial plant. So first, what we have learned in the terrestrial plant, hilly region, which type of plants are there, what are the characteristics are there. Second, what we have learned, and the climatic condition, natural condition also we have learned. No. Second, what? Plants in the desert. Plant in the desert. What are the type of the plants? What type of the characteristics? What type of the climatic conditions are there which they have to adapt to survive? Isn't it? No. Now the third one is plants in plains. So desert is over plains. I have already told you in the desert there is less rainfall. Okay, a sandy soil is there. It is very difficult for the sand to store, to hold the water, and the plants the roots can go deep inside the ground, isn't it? No? So these are the characteristics. Now we will learn the plants in plain. This is also the part of terrestrial plant, because plain land is a part of terrestrial plant. Terrestrial means land, isn't it? No. Now plains have moderate climate. Moderate means neither too hot nor too cold. Neither too hot nor too cold. So this is the climatic condition in the plain. Okay. As in the desert, not too cold on hills. Means here the plains have moderate climate, which is neither too hot as in desert nor too cold in hills. Both the features are in the plain different. Here the climate is equal type of climate. Equal, I can say, neither too hot nor too cold. Too hot means in the desert it is too hot, and in the hills it is too cold. But we avoid these type of climatic condition in the plain. Okay, so here which type of soil we found here? We found loamy soil, which is very fertile, okay, and suitable for the plants. So there's a large variety of trees are found in the plain. Trees of the plains have numerous branches and leaves, okay, which they shed periodically. They are called deciduous trees. They are called deciduous trees. Example of the plants which is there in the plain are teak, gulmohar, sesame, eucalyptus, neem, peepal and sal are the common trees which grow in the plains. So what we have learned in the plain? First, it has a moderate climate. Moderate means neither too hot nor too cold. Second, the soil is loamy soil. Loamy soil means it is very fertile soil and suitable for the plants to grow. Okay. And third, what we have learned here, the trees of the plain have numerous branches. Numerous means various branches. Okay. And the leaves which they shed periodically. And a particular period is there for the leaves to shed. Particular time duration is there for the leaves to shed. Okay, so these are the characteristics which we have learned in the plains. Now, plants on sea coast. Plants on sea coast. Here, this is also the feature of the terrestrial plant. No, plants on the sea coast. This will also come in the terrestrial plant. So sea coast, this region near the sea coast receive high rainfall and the water is salty. Why water is salty? Because the sea water is salty, isn't it though? So here it is where we find this type of plant near the sea. Near the sea, and it has a high or heavy rainfall. Okay, because it is situated near the sea. Examples of these are coconut trees grow well in the coastal area because they can survive in salty water and require areas of heavy rainfall. So two things are necessary for the coconut tree. What? It requires salty water and it can just it needs heavy rainfall. It needs heavy rainfall to survive and it requires salty water. These seeds of the seeds of the coastal plant are usually dispersed by the water. Okay, so these are the characteristics of the plants which is situated on the sea coast. Now plants in the marshy area. Plants in marshy area. This will also come under the terrestrial plant. Plants in the marshy area. And the aquatic plant, second part we will learn in the next video. Now this is the last point. This is the last topic, last feature which we have to complete. No, plants in the marshy area. Marshy area means what? Marshy area is a low-lying land which is flooded in wet season or a high tide. It is typically remain waterlogged at all time. Typically remain waterlogged means it is water is available in that area. Okay, and it is a low-lying land which is flooded in wet season or at high tide. Okay, so here the soil is very sticky and clay. The soil is very sticky and clay. Okay, roots are submerged in water. Roots are submerged in water means deep inside of the water. The roots are deep inside of the water. Thus unable to breathe. So it is very difficult for them to breathe. Some special part of the roots come to the surface to the breathe. So some special part of the roots come to the surface to breathe. Because they submerge in the water, they deep inside in the water. That's why it is very difficult for them to breathe. Okay, and some of them can come out to breathe. Come to the surface to breathe. Now they are called breathing or aerial roots. So such roots which come out of the on the surface of the water, okay, they are called breathing or aerial roots. Plants that grow here are called mangroves. So the example of marshy areas, what is the example of the marshy area? One example is that mangroves plant. Okay. So what features, what are the characteristics which we have learned in the marshy area? Marshy, the soil is sticky, okay, and it is a low-lying land which is flooded in wet season at high tide, okay, and it remain waterlogged. It remain waterlogged to all times. Here the soil is very sticky and clay. The soil is sticky and clay. So these are the characteristics of the marshy area, and it is very difficult for the roots to breathe, and those roots, those part of the root which can come out on the surface of the water are called breathing or aerial roots. And the example of this marshy area is mangrove. Now here this terrestrial plants features are over. Second part, aquatic plant, I am going to teach, we are going to learn in the next video. Okay, thank you.